Did you know that witchcraft wasn't always synonymous with evil? In fact, in ancient times, people practicing witchcraft were often respected healers and wise folk. Witchcraft, steeped in rich and diverse histories across the globe, is a tapestry that weaves together tales of power, mystery, and transformation. In the earliest societies, witches were seen as sages, their knowledge of nature and the cosmos sought after and admired. They were the healers, the herbalists, the wise women and men who could commune with the spiritual world. They were the bridges between the earthly and the divine, revered for their unique abilities. But as time passed, these perceptions began to shift. The once revered witch started to become a figure of fear and suspicion. The healer was seen as a heretic, the wise one as a wicked sorcerer. So how did we go from respect to fear and persecution? Let's delve into the history of witchcraft to find out. As we step into the Dark Ages, we see a dramatic shift in societal views on witchcraft. This period, spanning roughly from the 5th to the 15th century, was a time of great change, and not least for those who practiced or were suspected of practicing witchcraft. In the earliest days, witchcraft was often viewed as a necessary part of society. Witches, or those believed to have special powers, were seen as healers or fortune tellers. They were respected, even revered, and their abilities were sought after to solve problems or predict the future. But as the Dark Ages dawned, this perception began to shift. It was a time of fear and uncertainty, with wars, plagues, and natural disasters causing untold suffering. In their desperation, people sought to make sense of the chaos and find someone to blame, and increasingly, witches became the scapegoats. Fueling this fear was the growing influence of the Christian Church, where once witches were seen as wise women or men with a special connection to the natural world, now they were painted as heretics, consorting with the devil and using their powers for evil. The Church preached that witchcraft was a sin, a crime against God, and this message spread fear and suspicion throughout society. Witches were no longer sought after for their healing abilities or foresight. Instead, they were shunned, feared, and often persecuted. Accusations of witchcraft could lead to torture, imprisonment, or even death. People were terrified of being accused, and this fear led to a culture of silence and suspicion. This shift in perception wasn't just a passing phase, it was a seismic change that would shape society's view of witchcraft for centuries to come. The fear and misunderstanding that was sown during the Dark Ages would have long-lasting effects, setting the stage for events that would unfold in the future. This fear and misunderstanding of witchcraft set the stage for the infamous witch hunts to come. The Dark Ages cast a long shadow, and its influence can still be felt today as we continue to grapple with our understanding of witchcraft and its place in our world. Fast forward to the 15th to 18th centuries, a time marked by fear, superstition, and the infamous witch trials. As the Middle Ages gave way to the Renaissance, Europe and North America were seized by a wave of paranoia and fear. This was a period where the supernatural was not just a matter of bedtime stories, it was a tangible looming threat. In the heart of this terror were the witch hunts, a historical phenomenon that claimed the lives of tens of thousands of accused witches. The witch hunts were an amalgamation of societal, religious, and political factors. The Protestant Reformation in the 16th century, for instance, intensified the fear of the devil and his supposed minions on earth. This fear was often manipulated by those in power to control and suppress dissent, leading to a vortex of accusations, confessions, and executions. Let's delve into some of the notable witch hunts, and there's no better place to begin than the Salem Witch Trials. In the late 17th century, in the Massachusetts Bay Colony, a group of young girls claimed to be possessed by the devil and accused several local women of witchcraft. The ensuing hysteria led to the execution of 20 people and the imprisonment of hundreds more. But this was not an isolated incident. Across the Atlantic, in Europe, the witch trials were even more widespread and deadly. In Germany, during the Trier witch trials, hundreds were burned at the stake, accused of everything from causing crop failures to conjuring storms. In Scotland, the North Berwick witch trials saw over 70 people accused of using witchcraft to plot against King James VI. These trials were not driven solely by superstition. They were often fueled by societal tensions, fear of the unknown, and political maneuvering. The accused were typically marginalized individuals: women, the poor, the elderly, or those who simply did not fit into the societal norms. It's important to note that the witch hunts were not a global phenomenon. In some parts of the world, such as Russia and the Ottoman Empire, witch trials were relatively rare. This discrepancy highlights how societal, cultural, and religious differences impacted perceptions of witchcraft. The witch hunts eventually began to decline by the late 18th century, partly due to increasing skepticism and the rise of scientific reasoning. However, the damage had been done. The trials had sown seeds of fear and suspicion that would endure for centuries.